Hello, my name is Katie Connor, Product Manager for Shine. In this video, we will review how to manage new applications, intake information, and your waitlist within the pre-enrollment portal, as well as enrollment information in the Child's Enrollment tab. To start the process of tracking new program applications, you will want to click on the pre-enrollment portal in the top black panel. And once we're in this pre-enrollment area, we can see on the left-hand side that we have a list of all of those participants who have already started the application process but are not yet enrolled. And right at the top it tells us we have 55 participants. To search this list, you can do a number of things. You can just start typing in the name of the applicant, and anybody with that name will just start to appear in your list here. You can also choose a specific program year that you'd like to see. If you only wanted to see one, you could filter that way. If you wanted to look within a certain center, you can filter through your centers. And then finally, you have this list of statuses that tells you where in that application process this participant is. So we either have a new application, that's a brand new application, we haven't started entering anything else in Shine. If we've started entering other things, the application would be in process. Once it's ready for its initial review of selection criteria and eligibility information, you would mark that record as such, and it would be, the status would change to ready for review. If the record was already reviewed, then it would be marked either as approved or denied, maybe because the applicant was ineligible, or at the bottom here, denied because there's some additional action required on the application. And the other options are the child could be on the wait list, or if they're returning for their third year of enrollment, maybe they need re-verification, or they've been reviewed, or you've added them in their third year and they're ready for their third year review of their eligibility and selection information. So you can also filter by status. Let's say we wanted to add a new application for a new participant. We would click the plus button, and in doing that we get the first name, last name, and date of birth fields. When we enter them, then we want to click Create Participant. And in doing so, the Shine system automatically checks to see if a participant with that name and date of birth already exists in the system. In this case, it's saying yes, they do. And you can choose at that point to either cancel and start over, or add a new record to the existing participant. So if you clicked that button, what would end up happening is you would add a new pre-enrollment record to the existing participant. You might do that in the case that, let's say, a participant was waitlisted for a certain center and they also wanted to be on the waitlist for another center within the same program. In that case, you would want to have a different record for each center so that you could manage each center's waitlist separately. The third option would be to create a new participant anyway, and that would be, you would choose that button in the case that this Michael Jackson with this date of birth was not the same Michael Jackson that was already in the system. So in this case, let's just click the cancel button and say, oops, I didn't mean to add Michael Jackson, I meant to add Michelle Jackson. And we'll click Create Participant. And because Shine did not detect another participant with the same name and date of birth, we immediately get a new record for this participant. The first thing you want to do is choose your program year and then choose your center. You can see the status is always visible in this dark gray bar at the top of each participant's pre-enrollment record, and also the date that that status was created. This is the same status that we were filtering on over in the left-hand side, and the same status you see for each record here. Now the first step you might want to take is to fill out the family application for this applicant. And so to do so, you just click on Family Application, And Shine will take you to a place that looks very similar to an enrolled child's page, but definitely has some differences. We haven't added a picture yet. We can see some basic information here, but none of it's filled out because we haven't added any information for the child. There's also no calendar or alerts or summary graphs for this child that will all be populated once the child's actually enrolled. You also see this green bar at the top that at any time will take you back to Michelle Jackson's pre-enrollment record. But for now, since we clicked on Family Application, we're taken to the Profile tab, and the first panel within the Profile tab is the Family Application. This is where you will start to enter all of the application information. You can see that the participant's information, last name, first name, and date of birth is already filled in. And you'll notice that in Shine, the rest of the fields on this family application match the paper application. And that can be very helpful, so you don't have to go searching for the different fields. You can enter them very easily from that paper application that you have in front of you. Finally, at the bottom, you can click Add New to attach the application if you've scanned it and saved it to your computer or some computer drive. Once you enter the information on this panel, remember to click Save. For now, I'm going to click back onto the pre-enrollment record. And if I had finished filling out that family application, I would click Check. I'm finished with that part. If I have the birth certificate, I would click Check there as well. In that case, I would scroll down to the bottom of this pre-enrollment area and click Save. Record successfully changed, and you can see the change right here at the top. It went from a new status to an in-process status, and next to family application and birth certificate, it tells me who completed this and what date they completed it. Moving on to the eligibility information, again, you're taken to the child's pre-enrollment page, to the Enrollment tab this time. The Enrollment Info panel in the top is not filled out yet because the child hasn't enrolled. But the eligibility information is in the second panel here on the left. You can see that Shine automatically calculates the child's age at enrollment, or at time of application. You can choose whether or not they live in the service area, and then you can choose their categorical eligibility type, either foster child, homeless, not categorically eligible, or public assistance. If you choose one of the options that indicates that the family is categorically eligible, you'll see that categorically eligible changes to yes within Shine. If you say not categorically eligible, then that changes to no, and you'll see additional fields that appear so that you can track the family's income. You can choose the income source, choose the date, add the income amount, choose the frequency, the annualized income will automatically be calculated, and you can add any notes here. Then you'll want to go down and check to see that all of the income is totaled. You'll see the number of family members, and this number is added up based on the number that you added within the family application. You'll see the income percentage federal poverty. So this family is 45.26% of the federal poverty guidelines. And you'll see that they are income eligible. You'll want to add the date that the parent or guardian signed off on that eligibility information. You'll want to add your sign-off date, and then once this has been reviewed, your supervisor or the Family Services Coordinator or Director will add their supervisor sign-off date. Then you will want to click Save and head back to the pre-enrollment record. You can click Eligibility to indicate that you completed that. And next, let's go to selection criteria. Again, Shine takes us to the Enrollment tab to enter the selection criteria, which is on the bottom right-hand side of the tab. This selection criteria is set up on the Shine admin side, so it'll be specific to your program. And you can just check off the options that apply, and you can see under each category, Shine automatically subtotals the points. And then at the very bottom, Shine will calculate the overall total for selection criteria points. You will want to click Save on this panel, and then again head back to the pre-enrollment record and click Save here. If you've reviewed all this information and you feel confident that it is ready for the coordinator or supervisor level review, you could click this blue button to say Submit for Review. In doing so, the status changes to Ready for Review, and you can see who submitted it and what date. After your coordinator reviews, it will either be approved or denied. If the pre-application information is denied, there will be a reason given. Maybe the paperwork is missing some kind of signature, there are incorrect calculations, a required attachment is missing, maybe the child is ineligible at the time of application, or maybe there's some other explanation for the denied reason, and that will be written here. But let's say for now that the pre-enrollment is approved. You'll see it's approved and when. Right underneath here, you'll also see a pre-enrollment transaction history. This is nice because in one area you can just kind of see the progress that we've made on this particular pre-enrollment record. And then underneath you have all of these additional information that might be required for admission. This again can be customized to your program so that when you're checking things off, they're specific to what's required for your program's admission. If there are certain items that are not required but you might possibly have included in your intake information, those are also listed here. You can click Save, and that information has been saved. Again, each of these are links, so for instance, if emergency contacts are not required but are part of the pre-enrollment intake information, they will take you to the emergency contacts panel where you can list the information and click Save. Finally, if all of this has been reviewed and the child is ready to be placed on the wait list, then pre-enrollment waitlist should be checked and this record should be saved, and the child is now on the wait list for the MLK Head Start Center for this year. So let's say now that there is an opening in the MLK Head Start Center, and we want to use our pre-enrollment wait list to determine who is the next child eligible for that slot. We would filter down program year, center, and status, and we would only want to look at our kids who are on the wait list. Then we would click filter to get our list, so we have 22 participants on the wait list for that center. Because I can sort this list by point value, we can see right away that Michelle Jackson comes to the top with the most eligibility points at 410. So we want to give Michelle Jackson this slot. So we would go to her pre-enrollment record, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and click the enrollment link. Now, you will only see this enrollment link if you are set up as a user who has the ability to enroll a participant. So in that case, if you do, you can click enrollment, and a new enrollment pop-up box appears. It tells you what center the pre-enrollment record was waitlisted for. From there, you can choose a classroom and then enter the enrollment date and the participation year. This is her first year. And then here you can also assign a family advocate. When you click Save, you are now taken to the child's actual page with full information based on the application. We don't yet have a picture, but we can add one. We have a calendar here that lists all of the health requirements that are due based on this new enrollment record. We don't have any alerts yet since this is a brand new enrollment. We have a status overview. And here we're taken to the Enrollment tab where we can see our new enrollment record. Program year, Center, Head Start, Classroom, Butterflies, the enrollment date of 11/29/2013, participation year is 1, Family Advocate Susie Sly, and then you can enter whatever the entry date is. The entry date is the date that the child actually comes to school for the first day. So it could be the same as the enrollment date, or it could be maybe a couple days after the enrollment date. Once we enter the entry date and click Save, and you can see the entry date populated up here, and you can see it saved in this enrollment information. You can always change the entry date if it needs to be updated for some reason. Within the enrollment information, we also have these additional 4 buttons to transfer, unenroll, terminate, or edit advocate. You again will only see these buttons if you have those user permissions to change the enrollment information for participants. If we wanted to change the classroom, let's say they were enrolled in Butterflies and they're going to be now enrolled in the Moths classroom, you click the transfer button. And actually you can change the center if you'd like, or just change the classroom. List the first day in the new classroom, and then if you'd like you can change the advocate as well. You would click Unenroll if this participant was enrolled by accident and should never have been enrolled. Click Terminate to terminate the enrollment record and add a termination date and a termination reason. If this was the end of the year, you would mark completed program term. You can choose from the list of enrollment termination reasons and then the enrollment date. I'm not going to do that quite yet. And if you just want to edit an advocate, just click the Edit Advocate button and change the advocate. So those are the basics of managing your applications within the pre-enrollment area and how to manage enrollment information. For more information on how to use other areas of Shine, click on the Help portal and shine on.